Hey everybody, Goosebumps are Dummies here, and today I'm going to be talking about Vampire Breath, the 49th book from the original Goosebumps run. Now, this is one of the most under-talked about books in the entire Goosebumps franchise. There are, no reviews for this thing, and just little talk about this outside of reviews and, videos that feature this, which aren't many, to be fair. There aren't a lot of reviews or talk about this, just in general. I never see this one brought up. And that's kind of sad, because it honestly isn't bad at all. In fact, I think it is pretty decent. To kind of give you a hint at my score there. But, yeah, they're going to be reviewing it finally, and I hope people come out and read this thing, and I hope people maybe tell me what they think of this one below. So yeah, let's dive in. And now for the blurb, and by the way, if I sound sick, it's because I am sick. He's a dentist's nightmare. Tough. That's Freddy Martinez and his friend, Kara. They're not afraid of anything, but that was before they went exploring in Freddy's basement. Before they found the secret room. Before they found the bottle of vampire breath. Poor Freddy and Kara, they should have never opened that bottle of vampire breath, because now there's a vampire in Freddy's basement, and he's very, very thirsty. And that is the blurb. Wow, this one is super underrated. It is a very, very solid read, especially for, well, the fall, or just any vampire fan. This one is really, really good, and I'm just sad that it's not talked about very much. And not even in the most positive way, too. It's usually classified as just a fine mid-book, which is sad, because it's really just, it's honestly almost great. But not amazing. I don't want to overrate it here. So let's get into my upsides. Generally, this book is super atmospheric. Basically, this entire book takes place in this old, very decrepit and creepy and ancient castle filled with these hungry vampires, or thirsty, appropriate term. And whilst the vampires aren't very prevalent, it's still a great atmosphere and a great setting as well. It's spooky, it's kind of fun with what it does with it, even though it could have done more, which we'll get to later. But it's really, really solid. There's lots of great stuff to be offered with that setting, and just like I said, great atmospheric writing. It's a super creepy setting, especially for a Goosebumps book. It works wonders. Another thing, this book wastes no time. About 20 pages in is when shit actually starts happening, and less than 30 pages in, we're in this castle, evading vampires and shit, which is really cool. It's one of those rare Goosebumps books where it's like, oh, let's just jump straight the fuck into it, because there's been books like that. Ghost of Slappy. It wastes no time, and it tells you, yeah, Slappy's alive in that book. Huge spoiler, I know. Yeah, Slappy's fucking alive. Whew, whoop-de-fucking-do. But, those types of books are really nice, because whilst you know something's gonna happen, sometimes it just takes a sweet time, like Revenge of the Lawndowns, revealing that they're alive when it's blatantly fucking obvious. This one, no time wasted, and I love it for that. And especially since it has a really cool vampire idea and the coolest villains. Villains, I say, because there's two main villains in this book. Get to that in a second. The vampire idea is really unique here, and it could have been a blatantly bland vampire story, but Stine, you cooked here in ways I would have never imagined, and I don't know if it's great or mid, but either way, it's cooking. Basically, this vampire doesn't have real fangs, and he actually has dentures or something like that. It's kind of mixed. I think I might be mixing the episode here, but basically, this guy is so old, he needs vampire breath, so he can, use his vampire abilities, or his fangs. Yeah, it's very unique, and it adds, well, the vampire breath is obviously a plot device. It is an interesting idea. Instead of just vampires going out and about, when they rest, they need to take their fangs out, and they need to use this vampire breath. It's unique. It's different. It's not your usual vampire idea, and I love it for that. And final things to wrap up this book. Sorry, segment, not the book. It's fun. It's kind of dark. There's some, great cliffhangers here. Like, these kids almost fall out of the castle and down a, cliff. It's pretty almost gnarly and kind of tense there. And there's great villains. There is this twist villain that I'm not going to spoil entirely, because I know not a lot of people have probably read this book to do. It's very high on popularity, even though it's been reprinted twice. Yeah. This book is This book has some really decent villains, and whilst one is really strange, talking about the one that isn't on the cover, Cat Nightwing, it's solid, and I like them both. They're really nice villains. They're vampires that both have their own intentions, and the other vampire, the girl, is very manipulative, and that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's all I have to say for upsides. I really recommend this book at the end of the day, but it has some faults. There's nothing in this book I necessarily really hate, but there's some stuff that just could have been better. And throw this one out there real quickly, there are some twists. There's not great twists in here, and that's about all I can say about it. But there are other things I want to mention, and specifically it's just the entire book not really going further on its concept. The idea is that these kids are trapped in this ancient castle with these vampires, and it's just okay, it does that, and also it is really fun, unique, and cool with this really awesome setting and atmosphere. It's just like, you could have done more. I mean, all it does is these kids wander around, they're looking for this vampire breath so they can get home. They run into Vampire Girl, they get lured down into the basement, and then pretty much that's it. They encounter Count Nightwing, and after a series of fortunate events, they actually do get home to a okay twist ending. Not terrible. I'm one of those few people who don't think the twist ending is terrible, because I'm used to the goofy twist endings, and I like them because they're so weird and out there. Yeah, this book could have been something more, and whilst I do think there's some really good stuff we offered here, specifically the setting, really interesting. Kind of reminds me of Head You Lose, actually. It's just, it could have been more. Could have been a lot more than it actually was at the end of the day. But still, highly recommended. Please go check it out. Now let's get to my rating. I give this book an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. Vampire Breath. What a world. This book was almost a 9 out of 10, but of course, I don't think it reaches those heights due to it just being a little held back. And whilst I really appreciate it for jumping straight into action, and that action being, well, really nice and really interesting, unique, with cool concepts and a decent twist attached to it that I almost love, just should have been more. And also, mediocre twists. Yeah, that's all I can say about Vampire Breath. I hope people go check this one out, because it can honestly be a guilty pleasure of mine. Whilst I don't rate it a 10 out of 10, I think the quality of the book, or rather the entertainment, is like S tier. Which is something I even give for like Watchwood 4. Yeah, I said it. I freaking really enjoyed that book for how terrible it was. Yeah, that's the most positive thing I can say. It's very enjoyable. So yeah, go check it out. And I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Tell me what you think of Vampire Breath below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.